This is Doc Deason's weather.
You're watching Doc Deason's weather.
2 decades of severe weather experience here for you when it counts. This is Doc Deason's weather, live now.
Well, hi everybody. It is let's see here, 8:07. Hope you're doing well. Kind of chilly out there. Thought we'd come in, talk a little bit about what we've seen and what we're gonna see as far as the sleet and the snow. We wish more snow than what we've gotten and what we're probably going to get, but still nice to see that that winter precip and just something that I know makes a lot of folks seemingly nervous. I've talked to a lot of people, heard from a lot of folks who are pretty keyed up about this, and I'm here just to kind of help you, hopefully give you a little bit of peace of mind about it. So we're going to try to work out a few bugs as best we can with some sound and whatnot as well. My wife was telling me, or I've heard this from some people, that some of the words sound a bit slurred when you're hearing me when we go live here, and I'm not sure why that is, but it is something we're trying to work out. And so we figure, since we're in a situation now where we're not dealing with tornadoes and big severe weather, things like that, we could maybe tweak a few things here. But I did know a lot of folks had questions, and I've had some people asking if we're going to go live at some point during this, and figured this might be a good time to do that with additional precip coming in from the southwest. We had some pretty hefty sleet over Longview earlier, which was nice to see. I mean, it's if you can be inside, out of the way, it's just fun to. I know the kids love it. Just fun to watch it from inside and to be able to, just enjoy what winter has for us. We don't usually get too much of it. And when we do, I like to enjoy it. Lex likes to enjoy it. And I know a lot of other folks do as well. So I was playing around earlier with my camera, see if I can get this thing to fire up, and we'll see if we can take this to you guys. Let's put this down here. So here's what we're looking at outside. Got some sleet, looks like some sleet, and probably a few flurries in there as well. See if we can go full screen on this. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So I don't know if you can make that out or not, but we've got some decent precip coming down here at the house. My camera froze slap up. Couldn't go up, couldn't go down, couldn't go side by side, and we had ice all over the camera. So it's been a fun little thing that I was able to pick up over the last 5 months or so. I've been playing around with it. So it's nice to get out and do a little bit with it. And so I can make out, at least on my screen here, I can make out that we've got some flurries and some sleets out there in Tyler. And what you could also see is that tree. See my cursor there, that tree off in the distance. You can see the sheen off the lights on the loop really really kind of shining off those trees with the ice on it. So we had about 1/10 of an inch of ice, I guess, here at the house earlier on this morning. Weather Service was curious about the ice accretion here in town. We had between a quarter and about 1/2 an inch of sleet earlier this morning on the sleet table. So let's see what we're doing insofar as the radar is concerned. So we'll pull that in here for you. This is the Fort Worth radar, and one of the neat things about the radar scope that we used here, we can colorize this, show you where we think we've got frozen precipitation, i.e. sleet, some freezing rain in there, at least in some spots. The pink is mainly sleet pellets, the blue snow, and we had some hefty sleet and whatnot earlier on in the Longview area, Gregg County proper. But again, that's a good ways out to be poking around towards Longview. We'll go to the Shreveport radar here in a second, but I wanted to show you what was upstream from us. So you can see there's Interstate 45 going down towards Mahia, and then the precip down towards Killeen on I-35. Folks out towards Brownwood, Abilene, light to moderate sleet there. I was seeing some lightning strikes earlier. We had a few of those down towards I-45, and you will probably at some point tonight, you may at some point tonight hear some collapse of thunder, which would be kind of interesting to experience thunder sleet or thunder snow. I was talking to a friend of mine, Ross Strader, who lived out in Abilene, grew up there for a while. I grew up out there, and I spent some time there, saw some thunder snow and thunder sleet. It was remarkable to have that occur. So it'll get your attention for sure. I got a lot of folks here talking. One second. Yeah, I may try to do that.
Was when you're really shooting.
When it started doing that? Okay.
Yeah, so see as you're doing the live, if you can.
I'll try that and see. Okay. Yeah.
I think that maybe
Could be a piece of it.
that being changed.
Okay. Thanks. So listen, I'm trying to work out some stuff with the audio there. So a lot of folks on tonight. Good to see you guys. Hey Andy, thanks for being there. Glad to be able to help out. Cameron, glad you're here, man. Clint, thank you, sir. Well, I like my mic. It's a good one. That SM7B though is nice as well. Nothing in Swan, Stephen. Last couple hours. Yeah, you will though eventually. You'll see some stuff there. A little bit of a respite right now, but it'll be back. Let's see here. Ashley, I will. I'll say hi to Alyssa for you. Hey, Lindy, glad you're here. So again, the overall process tonight should overall increase the main low. Which let's look at this. Let's pull some things up here and see where we are. So here's the main feature that's helping to spur along all of the precip. Okay, this big trough out to the west of us. This thing is going to continue sweeping from west to east, and as it approaches us, it's going to provide a lot of lift to the atmosphere. It's going to cool the air column aloft too. That's also going to be what helps to probably give us a little bit of snow potential later on, very late tonight and during the morning hours tomorrow. Okay, that'll be probably on the back end of this. We're going to be mostly sleet and freezing rain, but the snow will have a bit more potential to play more widespread on the back end of this. But this trough right here, this big feature is the one that's going to help to do a lot of the heavy lifting for us tonight. Tonight has always been the main show, as I call it, where we'll see the better precipitation coverage. We got the cold air in place for sure. Temps down here at the house, we were about 29 back around 5:30. We're down to 26.8 now, so we'll round it up to 27, but we've been coming down here substantially for the past bit. Hey, Candy, glad you're here. And so the process is not going to have any trouble when it comes to temperatures across I-20 and points further south. And let's look at temperatures real fast and see where we are. Okay, here's the Weather Service, their hazards and data viewer. The black numbers that you see, those are the air temperatures. The red number is a wind gust indication. Okay, so we got a northeast wind at 20 or gusting to 20 miles an hour at the airport right now in Tyler. Sustained value is at 9. I've had a northeast wind here at the house all day, 5 to 10. A few times it'll gust a little bit more. But 28 at the airport, 25 though up on the north east side of Smith County. Usually that I think that's Union Pacific Railroad. They have some weather stations scattered across the area. That usually is a cold spot there up off of 271. So that 25 would jive. But look at Gilmer, Upshur County, 24 degrees there. 21 back over towards Marshall. 20 at Texarkana. During the day, you'll remember me posting something about how we talked about the colder air would finally spill over or around those higher elevations up in southeast Oklahoma, the Ouachita Mountains. They kind of dam that cold air up and keep it from coming as far south as quickly as it does back off to the west. Look at the temperatures up towards Plano, McKinney, 19 there. You get 28 though at Sulphur Springs. See what I mean? Let me take this hover feature off too. Yeah, so we won't have all that stuff popping up. So 28 at Sulphur Springs, 25 at Paris, 19 as you get over closer to Sherman, Denison area. So these mountains here, that's why we don't get as cold as fast here as they do off to the west. I mean, and they are plumb cold off west of Dallas. Look at there, 12 at Abilene, speaking of, at the Abilene Regional Airport. There's 10 out there towards Eastland or into Eastland County. So the air mass continues coming south. We've got 29 at the Cherokee County Airport there between Rusk and Jacksonville. 32 now, we're down to freezing in Nacogdoches. 34 at Lufkin. Haven't been to freezing yet in Lufkin yet. At least I don't think so. If we were, we weren't by much. But this air mass continues to, fall into place. A little bit later, as far as this stuff, really the colder air spilling south, I thought it would start coming in a little bit earlier, but it is doing so now, and we've got plenty of room for us when it comes to frozen precip and that stuff, having a good environment to set up at the ground. Thanks, folks at Just Pies. Appreciate you guys. Good stuff there. Saw you all on there. Hey, Kim, thanks for being here watching from Sulphur Springs. Glad you're here tonight. Chilly up there, Sulphur Springs, 28 right now. So the air mass is here. Let's see here. What else can we look at while we're just kind of hanging out here? Okay, yeah, I'm going to show you this. So here's the HRRR model. This is one of our high resolution models. I use this a lot during the spring when we're talking about severe weather. It's a short fused model. It runs out about 18 hours. Most of the time. There's a couple of runs a day, about 4 of them, where it'll run out to about 36 hours in length. So it doesn't go way distant in the future, but it refreshes every hour, and so it's showing us what it thinks temperatures should be at, at about 8 o'clock, which is pretty much on target. What I was going to show you, though, is how it shows that colder air continuing to filter in. See those numbers across East Texas coming down into the lower 20s. Okay. I can't yet, but I'll try to work with it here in a little bit. Yeah. So we got lower 20s, by 6 o'clock in the morning. We'll probably have some teens in some spots along and north of I-20 tomorrow morning by about 6 o'clock or so. Let's look at the reflectivity. Let's see here. Reflectivity and type. Okay, so here's what the model is seeing for, so that's 7 o'clock, so let's go 8 o'clock. You can see a gradual blossoming of the precip as we go through the night, and here we are at about 11 o'clock tonight. You'll notice a pretty good concentration of stuff, heavier precip intensity along south of Interstate 20. over closer to the I-35 corridor. This is going to be that area where I think we'll probably see, potentially could see a few strikes of lightning. We saw some lightning earlier on this afternoon and some of that stuff well south of us, but I think that's going to become a bit more of a possibility as we go through the night. You can also notice this bright pinkish shading here, indicating some of the most heavy downpours of this stuff as it transitions across the area. There's 7 seats. That's 1 o'clock in the morning. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll be getting closer to daybreak there, 6 o'clock. So, moderate to heavy precip at times. Some snow north up towards the Red River. The air itself is much colder the further north you get, further up into the air column. Which is where you need especially cold air to allow for the snow to get all the way down to the ground. Otherwise, with the sleet, you have snow that forms, then it melts, then it refreezes, and that's what gives you the sleet down there at the ground surface. So, which is also why we've had so much sleet here. Not as much freezing rain in some spots. Absolutely. Yeah, Deidre, thank you very much. Appreciate you, Nancy. Good to see you there, Dean. So the overall process will begin to wrap itself up during the morning hours tomorrow. There's 7 o'clock. It's 13 seats. So it'll be 7 o'clock in the morning, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. I think most of this stuff, at least the thought process has been to this point, should be getting out of here by then. So we'll just be plumb cold from there on. We're not going to get above freezing tomorrow. I don't think we get above freezing on Monday. If you've been following the updates that we do during the morning, the 7 o'clock updates, I've had single digits here in the forecast for us for Monday. I think since, last Wednesday we started talking about that, I think. So, and if we're not down in the single digits on Monday, it'll be close. We will see some, I think, in outlying areas. But especially on Tuesday morning, that looks right now to be our coldest. And that's going to be, again, a lot of single digits. So most folks will get above freezing along and north of I-20 on Tuesday, which is going to give us, a pretty good stretch below normal or below freezing temperatures. We got below freezing this morning here in town. What was that? Probably, I think about 1 o'clock this morning. And never made it above that mark today. So if you've got plumbing concerns or susceptible plumbing, things that are of a potential to give you some issues, I think you'll definitely be in a position to have more of that present itself tomorrow night and then again on Monday night going into Tuesday. But we're cold enough now, again, as I was saying. So let me see what we have here. See a lot of comments from folks, so that's good. Lots of heavy sleet, Lake Merville. Okay, thanks, Ryan, for that. Appreciate it. Troops see nothing since the storm started yesterday. All right, Sherry. Well, good deal. Just wet and nasty. Then the roads were wet today. Took a soil temperature a couple times today. Weather Service, we were talking about that earlier. We had 53 yesterday morning. Yeah, 53 here was the soil temp in Tyler. We pulled it down to 40. I think it was 46, 48 earlier this morning, and then 46 here this afternoon. So the number's coming down. And one thing, I don't know if you saw this, pull radar back up here too while we're talking, was on a conference call yesterday with the Weather Service, and it was mentioned that back during the Snowmageddon situation, February of 2021, the soil temperature at the Weather Service office in Shreveport never got below 33 degrees. In all of that, we never got below 33 there for soil temp. So we don't have to get the soil down that cold. It just helps to slow down the melting process when you do. And we've still got, with mid to upper 40 soil outside in the backyard, I got plenty of sleet still sitting in the grass. But when it comes to those streets and that paved stuff especially, we were able to melt that off pretty good today. The sleet will be the wild card overnight tonight. Heavy downpours of sleet can really set up on the roads, and we've seen a little bit of that earlier on this evening. We'll see a lot more of that, I think, overnight tonight. So when you get up in the morning, it should be pretty white out there. Talked to some folks earlier on who were telling me that we had some pretty good sleet showing up there on Highway 31 earlier this evening rather, as we were moving in towards the 7 o'clock hour, I guess it was. Was talking to Andy Parker there with Longview Emergency Management. He was telling me they had a nice ice situation there on 31 between Kilgore and Tyler. Some pretty slushy roads there, and there'll be a lot more of that as we go through the night. See what questions we have here. Sleeting in Horde. Okay, thanks for that, Alex. Yeah, up there, northern Smith County, extreme eastern sections of Wood County. Let's see what we got there towards Horde. That's going to be west or east of Mineola. Yeah, there's that sleet shower there that Alex was talking about. Some light sleet there north of Lindale along 69 between Mineola and Lindale. Southeastern Van Zandt County. You guys eat them. Seeing some sleet showers there now. Thank you, Tammy. Glad you're here. Watching from Jacksonville. Appreciate you guys. You bet, Clint. Lots of freezing rain in Flint. Okay, Phoenix, thank you for that. Got to drive back to Houston tomorrow. We'll be able to make it back to Bullard. So you're going to drive back from Houston. Yeah, I think you'll be it'll be slick in spots coming out of Houston. A lot of elevated surfaces down there in Houston, obviously, and so it's gonna make it some slow going, especially till you get out of town onto some of the more traditional paved surfaces. But we'll have some pretty good sleet down that way between here and Houston tonight. So you'll want to kind of assess the situation in the morning, I think. Have had sleet and light snow mix coming down pretty good in Hallsville. Okay, not long ago. Thanks for that, Terry. Yeah, we had a good band come over Harrison County and Gregg County and northern Smith County here, hour or so back. So good for that. Sherry, glad you're here. Thank you. Lee's asking, will Tyler get mostly or all sleet tonight? I think a lot of it's going to be sleet. Lee, we will have some freezing rain. We'll have a few flakes of snow in there, too. When I was out messing with my camera earlier, the sleet let up, but I could see the some snowflakes in there as well, which was nice just to have the variety. At least we didn't have as much of the freezing rain. So we had kind of that drizzle most of the day, the light freezing drizzle, which is always kind of tough to work around, but it'll put a good little sheet of ice on stuff, especially stuff that's elevated. Let's see here. Sleet tonight in Kilgore, no freezing rain. Okay, I hear you there, Gary. Supposed to fly out of DFW on Tuesday evening, Angela. Okay. Well, I think flying out Tuesday night, probably going to be okay with that. There'll be a lot of stuff. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day, depending on how much we set up tonight and how much traffic we have on Sunday. I know a lot of churches are canceling services for tomorrow, and understandably so. But the amount of traffic that we get out there on the roads tomorrow, I think, is going to have some effect on what kind of situation we have on Monday morning, because we're certainly not going to get it again. We're not going to get above freezing tomorrow by any stretch in most places. So. Will the second round, Josh, be worse than the first? Yeah, I mean, we'll have a lot more, I think, to deal with tonight than we did last night and this morning. So, and that's what we've been advertising here for several days now. Got some sleet in Upshur County, Alice. Thank you for that. Expecting for Palestine. We just had a cold rain today, Christina says. Well, we'll get more. You'll get more than that tonight, Christina. You'll have a decent amount of sleet and probably a few flakes of snow mixing in there based on what I'm seeing on the radar here out of Fort Worth. Coming up the street at us. Upshur County seems to be missing a lot of it. Some sleet. Well, there hadn't been just a ton so far, Brittany, but you'll get some more here. There's a lot more concentrated stuff off to the west. So hang in there. Lori's flying out of DFW tomorrow. Well, Lori, that's going to be interesting. I wish you lots of luck with that. But that's I'm not sure what all they have situated there at the airport to manage this kind of stuff, but I would imagine there'll be quite a few delays tomorrow There's a lot of days, a lot of delays, it seems like, at the airport on a good day, but especially a situation like this. And there'll be a lot of delays going north and east, too, because this same system is going to bring a lot of snow over Tennessee and Virginia, and just, it's going to be a mess going east. So that's also going to affect stuff in our area, just kind of the fallout from that stuff. We're cold enough that we're not building up on the trees anymore, Keith's asking. No, I mean, we've still got a little bit of mist out there, Keith, and any little bit of freezing rain that mixes in, man, that'll add more ice to the trees and whatnot. We dodged a significant bullet in Tyler and Longview today. We had some significant icing across Cherokee County, the southern half of Rusk County, and through Panola County earlier this morning with that freezing rain. A lot of power outages. Was on a call with the Smith County emergency management folks earlier today, and we had some folks from Encore on that call, and they said they had a lot of folks down there who were working to get that stuff restored. So we already have a lot of folks in the area to help assist and work on the power situation. They pre-positioned a lot of folks, and for good reason. So I think that's going to hopefully help to get power and whatnot restored quicker than it would have been otherwise had we not had people already pre-positioned in place. But as far as stuff on the trees, with the sleet coming in, I think it's going to be a lot more on the roads than it is on the trees, if I had to guess, based on where the temperature is going and just based on what the precip types are looking like. It'll be tough for driving, but it'll be better, I think, for that power outage situation, potentially, at least along I-20 and north of there. Down in the southern counties, into Lufkin and Nacogdoches and our deep East Texas counties, I think we're going to have probably more of the liquid consistency down there because the air column has not been as cooled yet. And so that would usually indicate more of a freezing rain consistency down south. So we'll be watching that overnight tonight, and that's something that you guys who are in the deep East Texas counties need to be thoughtful of that going into tonight when it comes to potential for power outages and stuff like that. Samuel, do you expect the Bullard area, South Tyler, to have mostly sleet or freezing rain? Mostly sleet, I think, Samuel. There'll be some flakes of snow in there, maybe a little bit of rain at times, but I think predominantly we're going to be dealing with those ice pellets. Let's see here. Okay, not a dumb question at all, Courtney. What's the difference between the blue and the red on the radar? The blue is going to be the radar's interpretation. As I put it back here, I threw it all off. The blue is going to indicate where the radar believes snow is located. All right, like up northwestern Upshur County. The radar thinks that we've got mostly snow inside of that. There's little pink pixels there. Some sleet potentially involved in that. The more solid stuff, like here near Horde, what we were talking about here earlier on, east of Mineola, that's going to predominantly, at least from the radar's perspective, it thinks that is going to be sleet. Okay, so, and then as you get further to the south, maybe a little bit more rain down in the Trinity area on the radar. So you got sleet and freezing rain there. Okay, it's a great question, Courtney. I should have explained that better, so my apologies for that. What do I think about Wascom? Well, I like Wascom, Erica. Always glad to get to Wascom when we come back into the state, but that's not what you're talking about. So I think you guys there in Wascom, you're already cold, plenty cold, and you'll have a sleet and some of that snow potential mixing in, but more sleet than anything else overnight tonight. It'll just take a little bit longer to get to your neck of the woods coming out of Central Texas, but it will get there. Jacksonville trees were white with ice all day and lots of branches falling. Tammy says, "Yeah, I heard a pop this morning. Lexi and I were outside trying to measure our sleet total, and heard a loud pop. Thought it might have been a transformer, but it was something." It wasn't our transformer because we didn't lose power, but it was something popping in, and a lot of folks are hearing that as well, especially who have a lot of power line, a lot of pine trees and whatnot. What you got?
Rusty's using some AI to try to solve it. Amanda's got a microphone in her Amazon cart right now for it. I told her I didn't think it was live.
That's funny. Okay.
I was going to send Rusty one
Yeah,
that thing. Just,
please do. Yeah.
okay.
Got my folks, Big Rusty and Amanda, checking on some stuff for me. So appreciate that. Trying to help me with my microphone issue that we were talking about. Hey, absolutely, Keith. Thank you, man. Good to see you on here. Yeah, trees. Tammy talking about the trees in Jacksonville, white all day. A lot of branches falling, and we saw a lot of that. Like I said, Rusk County, the city of Rusk in Cherokee County, down to Alto and whatnot, in that big freezing rain dump that we had earlier on. Vicky asking about Palestine. You guys are going to get one of the earlier cracks at the additional precip that's out towards Waco right now. So it's coming. It's coming. Hang in there. Hey, Melissa Charba, thanks for being here. Appreciate that. How high will the winds be in Tyler? Not that high, really. I'd say 5 to 10, maybe 15 miles an hour. What's the wind doing right now at the airport? So let's see here. So we got a northeast wind at 10, gusting to 20 at the airport right now. So let's see, what has the wind been doing? So here are the 5-minute observations from the airport, from Tyler Pounds. So we got temperature here, 28, dew points 25, wind chills 19, northeast at 10. So yeah, 5 to 10, 15, a few gusts higher than that. Haven't had as much wind for the last hour or so. We expected the day to be kind of a breezy day. But it's, it seems like that was more loaded to the morning as opposed to the evening hours. So that's, when it comes to wind, we don't want that, obviously, because of especially when you've got a lot of pine trees and whatnot that are already brittle and loaded with ice. We don't want a lot of wind. But hopefully that'll help you some there. Paige asking about Hideaway. Glad you guys are here at Hideaway tonight, Paige. Quiet right now. A little bit of sleet maybe there near Hideaway. There we are. So just kind of in and out. Won't be there too long, but it will come back in and visit you later on tonight. Holly Lake, Jessica, thanks for being there in Holly Lake tonight. I got you some light mixed precipitation there, not far from Holly Lake. Maybe a little bit of snow north of you, okay? But there'll be more of that as we go through the night. How does accumulations on power lines relate to the accumulation on the ground? Well, typically, it can just kind of depend from place to place. I think the accumulation on the ground of the ice on those flatter surfaces can tend to be, I think, a bit higher than on those lines themselves. But you can get it on both, and it's a lot more problematic when you get it on the power lines and those tree limbs than on at the ground surface, at least as far as power outages are concerned. Exploding trees, Mark, yeah, that's what it sounded like earlier. Are we still expecting some thunder sleep? Michael's asking. Yeah, I think we got a shot at it. I don't know how much of we're going to have, but it will be impressive if we can. So, something that a lot of folks haven't seen. I remember when our daughter was born. Lexi was born in March of 2014, and we had an ice storm here in Tyler the Sunday before. She was born on a Friday, and Alyssa and Chris Rocha and I were just out and about in town that Sunday afternoon, and we had a really big freezing rain event, and we had thunder along with it. And I'd never seen thunder freezing rain before, but it's remarkable because in order to get that thunder, you need you're going to have accompanying with that some pretty hefty downpours, which is just kind of adds to the dramatic of it all. And something that I was talking about with Ross yesterday was, and I really hadn't thought about this, when you have, especially thunder sleet, but thunder snow too, when you have lightning involved in all of that ice at the same time, the reflective ability, the lightning is brilliant when it's in the presence of all of that, whether it be snowflakes and the reflective component there with those, or the ice pellets when it comes to sleet. So it is really spectacular to see those things in unison like that. Do I still think single digits in Tyler? Yeah, Samuel, I do. Tomorrow night, I had thought we would be looking at that. We may hold off on that and have it. I think we'll have some tomorrow night, but I think probably Monday night will be the bigger instance of that, more widespread at least, probably early on Tuesday morning. What about Sulphur Springs area through the night? Kenna, we got still precip off to just to the west of you right now. So you'll see precipitation pick up in the Hopkins County and Rains County area here pretty quick. So that's coming on here shortly for you guys. Alba Golden expectations. No, Linda, I'm glad you're here. It'll be quiet here for a little bit. Alba Golden, you get into western Wood County, but as we go through the evening and get in towards what is it, 8:40 now? Probably closer to 9:30. Have some decent precip off to the west of you. That should be closing in on your location. So hang in there and enjoy that while you have it. Canton, Mark, you're okay for the moment. Some light mixed precip there near Canton, but there's more off to the west. Again, here's this Fort Worth radar that we're looking at now. I'm still trying to find some lightning strikes. I don't see anything in there yet, but we'll see. You bet, Ashley. Glad you're here in Kilgore tonight. Thank you for that. Outlook for Nacogdoches. We fared well so far. Yeah, Renee, you did. Temperature, though, now in Nacogdoches is down to freezing. Yeah, down to 32 there at the Nacogdoches Airport, which is a traditional cold spot, which we have some of those around the area. And what we mean by that is on a regular calm morning when the sky's clear, the winds are light, some of these airports sit in kind of in some low spots. And so the temperature, the cold air will want to try to drain down. It's real dense, just like water. So on a morning like that, you'll see temperatures at particular places that are low in elevation compared to the surrounding terrain where that cold air will drain. The Nacogdoches Airport is one of those. Marshall is that way. The Rusk County Airport there, west of Henderson, a big example of that. So you guys in Nacogdoches are down to 32 now. You'll continue cooling off as we go through the nighttime hours. So it's going to be game on there for y'all as far as especially elevated surfaces, things like that. You want to be careful of that in Nacogdoches here going through the rest of the night. You bet, Terry. Glad to help out. How much worse will it get overnight? Samantha's asking. Well, it depends on what you mean by worse. If you talk to the kids, they're going to say it's going to get a lot better because we're going to have more sleet and fun stuff to look at. Road conditions will deteriorate overnight. It'll be slick in a lot of spots, especially elevated stuff, bridges and overpasses, stuff like that. But the main roads should also be able to set up. Now that we're in this 20 below 30 range into the mid 20s, it's going to be a lot easier for that sleet to want to hang on those paved surfaces, especially secondary roads and whatnot, which don't have a lot of traffic. So, just be aware of that. Like I said earlier, I think it was. I don't have a problem with pulling the plug on services tomorrow morning. I feel like we've been telegraphing this for several days, and I feel good about where we are with the forecast and what we're going to be doing in the morning. So, the crazy thing is, you can make cancellations on things nowadays so much easier than you could when we were kids. When I was a kid, you had to get your superintendent or the pastor or whoever was in charge had to get a hold of the radio station, had to be listening to the right radio station or the TV station. And, you had to have people in front of the television or the radio to get the message. Now we send a text message out and we instantaneously can, alert folks to changes in schedules, in the blink of an eye. So it's ironic that we oftentimes end up pulling the trigger so fast on stuff before we even have a flake of snow in the air or a sleet pellet in the air. When we can, oftentimes, get the information out very fast to people A lot easier than used to be whenever a lot of us were in school who are my age at least. A little bit of freezing rain in Lindia. Hey, thanks, Candy. Good to see you on here. Appreciate you. Let's see here. All right, let's see. Gosh, a lot of comments here, y'all. So I'm just trying to get through them as best I can. Longview Hallsville, Ariel, I see you there. Looking okay. You know, you're going to have additional sleet that's going to follow up the heavier stuff that came through there here back about an hour or so ago. So it's, you know, we're not over yet by a long shot. Flickering lights there in Flint, Stephanie. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, with the wind blowing, if you've got ice, you know, as we do on the power lines and on those trees, especially the pines, man, I swear, they're good for making furniture and making trouble. It seems like as much as anything, but we got a lot of pine trees and a lot of ice on them, and so that's going to be good for power issues tonight. Like we talked about earlier, if you saw the post yesterday, they have staged a ton of electrical trucks here in our area. The mall, I posted some video last night, a little time lapse of me. I just kind of drove around the north side of the mall parking lot, and dozens of trucks, a ton of them also out at the fairgrounds. So they're here ready to roll for being able to get together, and I think that's what helps to get things moving along as quick as they did in Cherokee County earlier today with the power outages that we had down in that area and also over into Rusk County. Southern Oaks, how concerned are you about roads in Tyler overnight and tomorrow? I think in the morning it's going to be pretty slick in the morning. Based on the preset that we have coming in tonight, the lighter traffic load, the temperatures, which are going to continue to drop. So it's going to be slick in the morning. I'm pretty confident of that. I don't see really anything that's going to slow that down, given the radar trends and where the models have been pointing at here for quite a while. So I know you guys there are trying to make some important calls, but I think it is going to be pretty slick in the morning. But that's me. Appreciate y'all being on here too and what you do there at Southern Oaks. Let's see. Cameron is asking, is it still looking like the impacts in Tyler will be as severe as recently predicted? Well, I think no. I don't think it's going to be as bad as it could have been. The cold air that came in a little bit quicker helped to slow down or helped to transition more of the precipitation from freezing rain into sleet. And the big concern all along here has been the buildup of ice on trees and power lines and how that could translate into power outages. Okay, that and the Cherokee County, Rusk, Panola County situation this morning is an example of that. Okay, the reason we had the problems in that area is because the cold air wasn't as thick, didn't seem to have as much depth to it, and so instead of we had the sleet presentation over the Interstate 20 corridor, just to the south of that, more of a freezing rain setup, and you have the power outages. So is it going to be as significant as predicted? A lot of the predictions revolved around people concerned for infrastructure. So at least right now, I feel like we're going to be we're in a potential situation to not be quite as critically impacted from that as it appeared we could be 24 hours ago. But we still got to get through tonight, and I don't want you to let your guard down on account of that. But if you've been here for any length of time, you know that I try to not get people keyed up and amped up and hyped and spooked and everything else. And that's a big pet peeve of mine. And I think some of that some of the hype and some of the concern some of the concern that has been put upon people. I think some of that happens with folks just being a bit over dramatic. We'll just put it like that. So we try to exercise a measured approach here, and so that's how I look at it. So hopefully that helps some. Not as bad as it could have been. And, in this day and time, we're in a pretty great situation. The fact that we can sit here and last Sunday, after we left church, we went and had some lunch, came home, and the morning models had completely turned in toward the cold weather coming in. And so we've been talking about this since Sunday. That's a lot of time for this stuff to kind of stew, and it's a lot of model runs and a lot of folks online who were looking to get some clicks, and clicks is cash in this kind of situation in social media in a lot of places. And again, I make a few dollars on this as well, but I would rather not make as much of that, and keep a measured approach than get real hyperbolic on you and spook people, because that's the last thing we want to do. And that's just please see my heart on that. Okay. All right, let's see here. What do we got? How much ice are we talking about here in Tyler near Jack? Jennifer's asking. I think maybe we get maybe a tenth of an inch of ice overnight. I think it's going to be mostly sleet, and so that's not going to build up on the power lines. That's going to be something that's just going to sit in the street and in the yard and make it harder for you to drive. But we've got some wind in there. We've got some existing ice that's been kind of slowly accumulating all day in this frozen mist that we've had. So we've got it out there, but we don't have as much of it as we could have, at least. So hopefully that helps you some. Doesn't mean we're not going to have some power outages from the stuff that's already there, and any wind that gets moving around. The heavy precip tonight can build up on a few things, and who knows, the tree limb cuts loose that's already compromised because it's got ice on it, or it's already compromised because the tree is weak from the 2021 freeze that we had, or any number of droughts and heat that we've had over the last 10 to 15 years. So there's a lot of things that can contribute to some of these trees, or a lot of these trees that are just compromised and haven't been taken down yet. We've lost a lot of trees in our neighborhood over the last 3 to 4 or 5 years, subsequent to what happened in 21. And a lot of other folks have too, but a lot of trees are still there, and doesn't mean they don't have issues from storms and whatnot, big severe weather that's come through. So we've got a lot of things out there that can still cause us issues, but at least the freezing rain in a lot of spots, I think, is going to be not as much of a player on it going forward for those Tyler, Longview, and Marshall. Let's see here. Thundersleep, Melissa. Yeah. Well, I think we got a shot of that tonight, so it'll be neat to see it. Just to experience that. It's something you don't get to deal with too often. Let's see here. You bet, Hazel. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Amy. I appreciate that. Is it going to sleet in New Harmony, Tracy? I hope so, for the kids' sake. But you'll get some sleet there. That New Harmony Road, man, that hill is a beastly. In fact, that's what they used to call it when they did the Beauty and the Beast bike thing back in the 90s. I think that hill there at New Harmony or I guess that's south of New Harmony was the beast. But that's a tough one when we've got ice and sleet and whatnot. Hey, thanks, Christy. I appreciate you watching. That means a lot. Thank you. You bet, Micah. Emery blanketed in ice, Catherine says. Almost looks like snow, but it's heavy. Let's see what's going on in Emery, and we'll see if we can come up with that, Catherine. All right, let's see here. So here's radar from Fort Worth. Thundersleet? No, I don't need a. Yeah, I see you there, Hillary. Yeah, so not much, just kind of in and out in Rains County right now. Looks like you got some additional stuff, though, coming in out of the southwest, out of northern Van Zandt County. Some good there. Thanks, April. Appreciate you. Power is, I think you meant to say power is out on 4120, Kim. Okay. Christy asking, missed the latest on Nacogdoches. You guys are y'all are at freezing now in Nacogdoches at the airport there, Christy. So you'll be dealing with some sleet, probably some freezing rain overnight. Deep East Texas counties, that's where the freezing rain is going to be more pronounced at tonight. The further north you go, the more the concentration will become sleet and then snow up along, especially in north of I-30 tonight. More sleet, Mandy, in Longview than anything else, I think. All right, Angie, still have power in Linwood. Good deal. Glad you're here. You bet, Christy. Let's see what else we got going. Wow, temperature's down to 26 here at the house. Which it doesn't sound like a lot. We were at 29 at 5:30 here at the house in South Tyler. So we're over by the mall. Down to 26 now. That's a pretty decent drop over that short of amount of time, especially when you think about the fact that we're overcast. It's 22 over at Caddo, 20 at Jefferson. $25 at the Wood County Airport, 27 Sulphur Springs, 30 at Canton, 31 Palestine. Again, this air it has to sneak around the Ouachita Mountains in southeast Oklahoma. So that's what gives you 24 at Paris and 18 over there, just south of Denison, southeast of Denison. It's really funny how that sets up, but it's a whole process. Sure thing, Kristen, absolutely. Listening from Timpson, Donna says she's got tree limbs falling all around you. Sounds like gunshots. I'm sorry, Donna. Oh man. The Weather Service this morning was asking, and if you were on the page earlier this morning, you saw me post something asking what people were seeing in Panola County and Rusk County and Cherokee County, because we had some really heavy precip come through there. A lot of it was freezing rain, and again, that was a lot of what it looked like would have set up a little bit further to the north, and what I think. No pun intended, precipitated that ice storm warning coming as far north as it did up to I-20. But yeah, that's I think what Donna's saying from Timpson is part and parcel of what's going on in that neck of the woods tonight with all these tree limbs falling and so many pines over there as well. David Chenal, what do you got, man? Let me see here. Looking to Monday morning, do you think we'll still have hazardous roads for refreezing? Yeah, I mean, I think we will. I don't know to what extent. We aren't going to have as much traffic tomorrow as we probably would on a Sunday, particularly with the amount of church services that I think are going to be canceled for tomorrow morning. So that takes the big traffic load off early. You'll have some traffic out there tomorrow afternoon, but Sunday's a lighter traffic day in a lot of ways. when it's like this. So, I think Monday morning could be impressive. We are going to be plenty cold for sure. Maybe not quite to single digits in some spots, but we will see a lot of those on Monday morning, and that is dang cold. So anything that is out there will refreeze. But the precip process should wrap itself up before lunchtime or by lunchtime in most cases. But, yeah, that does leave us with a pretty small window. The days are still pretty short this time of year, so you'll be dark by, 6 o'clock? We'll be dark. The temperature will start dropping probably mid-afternoon. It's not going to get too high anyway tomorrow. We'll still be only in the 20s for highs tomorrow. So, yeah, I think we'll have issues Monday morning. I do. To what extent? Hard to say. And I know where you're going with that, just for thinking for schools and whatnot there. It'll be interesting to kind of get a feel for that. A lot of that's going to depend on what comes down tonight and what form it does occur in. But we're still going to have to battle power outages too, even after this precip exits, because the ice is still going to be here. Okay. Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, I can try that. I'll do something here real quick. See what that does. It's unplugging something here that we think may be causing some problems. So we'll see if that fixes it or not. All right. SFA University has already announced online classes only for Monday, Angie says. Okay. Well, good to know that for SFA. Good deal. Let's see here. Mostly light sleet here off of 2710. Okay. All right, Paul. Thanks for that. 2710 being Lindale. Good deal, man. Thank you. Let's see. I think that is covering most of it tonight, or a lot of it tonight. Let's look at the radar. Just a couple of quick hits on that, and then we may step out of here. Pretty good precip shield. A lot of stuff now starting to develop. Initially, we had a lot of stuff up north of the Dallas area and west of Dallas. A lot of that now beginning to fill in between Austin and Waco. You can kind of see that process there really getting itself going. A mix of sleet and snow. Kind of quiet out here ahead, but it's filling in. I'll have to do that later, and I can't do that now. But yeah. So it's still there? Okay. All right. We'll work on that then. Thank you. Let's see. Catherine says Emory was covered during the system that passed us about an hour ago. People are four-wheeling. The kids are throwing snowballs of ice. That's awesome. About a half inch or better. Wondering why we didn't see it on the radar, but it happened. Interesting. I don't know why we wouldn't have seen that on the radar, Catherine. I can't really explain that to you, but you've got some back in the Emory area now, at least. So and you had a decent little pocket come through there. What time was that? Back about 6:30, so. Oh, yeah. 3/8 of an inch. Let's see here. Susie said we have 3/8 to a 1/4 inch of ice on our wooden walkways here in Winsboro, near Perryville. Okay, Susie, thank you for that. Thank y'all for being there and up in the Winsboro area. We appreciate that greatly. I was up in Perryville in Winsboro on Friday? Yeah, Friday. Is that yesterday? It's Thursday. I was up there. So, showing a house up there. Thanks, Susie, very much. Will Kilgore get a good round tonight? Natalie asking. Yeah, you guys in Kilgore will get that. Kind of sparse here right now after that wave passed here an hour or so back. But there's more on that on the way. So, All right, let me do this real quick. Let's look at a couple more radars real fast. Let's get out and see what we've got on the Del Rio radar. See, you can see there are a lot of precip stretching back well over the Mexican border. Midland, more of the same. We've still got precip all the way back to Fort Davis. Look at that thunder in there, too. There's just some thunder. Look at that. Oof. Right there along Highway 90, or just north of it, west of Fort Davis. That's quite a show there. Nice band there. Wow. So we're not the only ones seeing it tonight. There'll be plenty of it to go around as we get into the overnight hours. SPC outlining a couple of areas of heavier snowfall potential, probably. Mix of freezing rain and sleet continue through the evening. Yeah. So, yeah, but a pretty good concentration of it off to the west of us, and that'll get in here during the overnight hours. So, kids will be enjoying it. Yeah, Andrew, I like what HRR's done on it so far. So that's where I've been there for a bit. It's handled the temps pretty well, in my opinion, at least. So, and those kind of things run every hour, which is nice to get data in there. So I feel pretty good about it, at least at this point. So I think we're gonna step out of here and look at a few things and try to get a little bit of rest tonight. Audio went off. Not sure about that, Betty. Show should still be on. Okay. I think it's there still. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're still there. We'll be watching stuff overnight. Okay, thanks, Jessica. We'll be watching stuff here for next several hours. I am curious, like a lot of the kids, just to see some good winter precip. We don't do much of that. Appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for watching and for supporting us through the traffic on our Facebook page and on the X feed, and also on YouTube. If you've got folks who you think might enjoy what we do here, I'd appreciate you telling them about us. Tag them in one of the posts that we have. And we've had a lot of traffic on our 7-day forecast that we've done this week, obviously, and so it's been nice to see that. Hope you enjoy those as well. Normally, you don't see me much here in this format unless we've got big severe weather going on, but we're heading into that season, and we'll be talking more and more here in the coming weeks as we get into prime severe weather season in about 2 months or so, 2 or 3 months. But I am, again, glad you're here and appreciate you swinging by on such a cold night. Always interesting to see the winter precip. We don't get much of it, and it doesn't last very long when we do. So all in all, could be a lot worse. We're in a pretty fortunate position to be able to watch this stuff and talk about it days in advance. 100 years ago, this stuff would have snuck up on people and they wouldn't have known what hit them. Can you imagine being here in East Texas in February of 1899 when one of the biggest Arctic outbreaks in history came down, and I would gather most folks had no clue it was even coming around the corner, that morning. So we live in an incredible time to be able to watch this stuff and telegraph the signals that we see ahead of time to allow people to get prepped and ready to go. We're not here to try to scare folks, but I will tell you, there aren't many things in life anymore that are an adventure. We've really eliminated a lot of risk in our lives, and we're fortunate for that. There aren't a lot of adventures anymore, but weather is one of those. And so it's neat to see that kind of play itself out. And we're in the middle of one of those little adventures right now, and we'll be able to look back on it. And hopefully you had a chance to enjoy it in the process. But if there's anything we need to tell you about, we'll come back in and do so. Probably just post more than anything else, imagery as far as radar and some occasional thoughts here and there. But again, thank you all for being here tonight, and we will talk more very soon. We'll have updates tomorrow morning, and especially on Monday morning with the forecast at 7 o'clock or so. Thanks to my friends at Rose City Air for supporting our page as well, as they have been great partners here for us throughout the year. You guys enjoy the sleet and the snow. Send me some pictures, and we'll talk soon. All right?
Thanks for watching this live broadcast from Doc Deason's Weather. When weather's at its worst, we're at our best. Doc Deason's Weather, the call